Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in Eagle Valley and I'm kind of adjacent to Kings Canyon. If you want to enter Kings Canyon, what you do is here's downtown Carson City. You go up through the canyon and it opens up into the Sierras. It's where the high desert meets the forest. If you look to the right, that's Slide Mountain. I've stood on top of there. It's 10,000 feet. If you pan on over here just a little, up there is the Hobart Reservoir in the ghost town of Franktown. It's where we ran into that rake creature, something that was able to walk on all fours and two legs. It was all black and hunched over. And then we've been on the other side of the mountains. Tahoe's just on the other side. And then if you come over here, besides us hiking up in Kings Canyon, which is on the other side of these hills, we've hiked throughout the whole canyon, really. One of the tallest summits overlooking Carson City is this triangular little peak, which has very little trees. It's this triangular peak. It doesn't have a lot of trees on it. It's composed mainly of granite. It's a volcanic peak. It's not the tallest. I mean, Snow Peak is the tallest. We ran out of daylight, but we did stand directly across a canyon where Snow Peak's located. And Snow Peak's only a couple hundred feet higher than this peak. But the reason why I chose this peak is it overlooks all of Kings Canyon, all of Carson City. If you go up to Snow Peak, the views of Carson City, you can kind of see it back here. The views become obstructed. But there's layers of mountains, and it's, you know, it's a good about 8,700 feet up at the top there, 9,000 feet in this region. And if you look over here, to your right's Frail Peak, and then this is Job's Peak and Job's Sister Peak. Job's Sister Peak is the sister peak that's a little taller to the peak to the left. So you have Job's Peak to your left, Job's Sister Peak in the middle, and then Frail Peak to the right. Frail Peak is the highest, a couple hundred feet taller than Job's, but Job's is almost 11,000 feet. And we've discovered a lot of Bigfoot evidence up in this area. And then if you pan over to your right a little, there's Genoa Peak. And yes, I've stood at the very top, and it's about a 4,000 foot elevation gain from where you hike up in Genoa. There's Jack's Valley, and Genoa's back in here. Genoa's one of the oldest settlements or towns in Nevada. And then you pan on over here once again. And you have Kings Canyon, and I called that King Peak. There used to be a fort in the canyon and a couple old historic ranches. Actually, Carson City kind of stemmed out from Kings Canyon. And that peak was a beast. There's hidden creeks and ponds. It's a whole entirely different world up there. But we've found Bigfoot evidence. Well, we found UFO evidence on Slide Mountain. We found monster evidence up at Hobart. In Kings Canyon, we found Bigfoot evidence. Some other strange things like mutilations. Joe's Peak, we found Bigfoot evidence. And in Genoa Peak, we also found some strange signs of Sasquatch evidence. There's definitely something going on up here. There's a historic little, it's a little cabin that's up here. It's called Red Cabin, and there was a flash flood and it killed everybody that was staying in the cabin, at least the wives of the caretakers. They were up here taking care of the reservoir and the dam, and it broke during a storm. So there's a lot of history up in these mountains. They may look like hills or mountains to you, but some of them tower as high as 11,000 feet. And there's forest and creeks and lakes back up in there. If you start from the valley and down, it might take you all day. It's a very steep hike to the top. You'll hit one mountain after another mountain, one canyon after another canyon, till eventually you make your way to the top of the rim, which is known as the Tahoe Rim, which is where the mountains top off. Anyhow, I'm out of here. Stay tuned. Kings Canyon Expedition 2 will be on our site. Check us out, www.paranormalghostsociety.org. I'm one of the very few that could say aye. stood on top of the world above Carson City. Best senior prank ever. This is Sea Hill. The seniors in Carson City in the middle of the night rearrange all the rocks to make a 15. It's quite a hill, at least 500-600 feet high. We're heading up to Kings Canyon. Actually, we're in Kings Canyon right here. Now my video camera works. My other camera's not taking pics. They sent me the camera faulty. Do not get a camera from Best Buy. This is the second time they've sent me my camera back with something not working on it. And they say they test them. There's no way they can test them. So anyways, this is round 2. What we're going to do is we're going to go up into Kings Canyon. We have a very odd site we'll be examining. Supposedly, in theory, it may have been a Bigfoot encampment or shelter. It's really hard to say what it was. However, if there's mutilations, scuffed up logs from tree banging, little snares and traps, and anything that's odd, we'll see what's been up there this winter, and we'll examine the site. And then what we're going to do is make her climb the Snow Valley Peak. Now, since I only have video cam working, I'll have to clip my pictures from our video. That's all I got right now. But the expedition will and did take place, because we'll videotape the whole thing. And we'll try to summit Snow Valley Peak, which is 9,200 feet and overlooks Lake Tahoe, Eagle Valley, Reno, Carson City, Slide Mountain, Mount Rose, Houghton Peak, and probably about 30 other prominent peaks in the Tahoe area, including Martlet Lake, Hobart Peaks, possibly Hobart Reservoir. So the views are stellar. We're not going to get the pictures that we came for, not without my camera not working. We're just going to go ahead and we'll videotape this expedition, Expedition 2, in Kings Canyon, an area where there's UFOs, strange vanishings, and even Bigfoot lore. And down in this canyon, lots of history, lots of ranching. In the 1800s, Carson City began right here in Kings Canyon and expanded to the city that you see right out in front of you. We're standing above Carson City. You can see that the woods are much higher up in the mountains. Basically, we're starting from the bottom of Carson City and we're heading right up into the Sierras. These are the foothills of the Sierras. Once we proceed past the foothills, we'll end up into a lush forest and then some pretty steep mountains. Now, my high quality camera's not working. I don't know what happened. I sent it in for some repairs. It came back, it's not working. This is going to be a more hands-on expedition. I'm going to be doing a lot of video recording, not picture taking, because we took plenty of pictures last time we were here. I have another camera. It's not as good, but it'll do for taking pics. My main goal today is to check for hair samples at the Bigfoot shelter, and then we'll proceed to go behind the shelter and climb 4 or 5 peaks till we get to Snow Valley Peak, if we can. You're talking miles uphill of hiking. There is really no areas that are too flat once you get up in these foothills and mountains. We'll do everything we can to bring you guys a spectacular journey. And Expedition 2, this is 1 year after our finds. So today we'll focus on tracks, but Expedition 2 will focus on hair samples, getting deeper up into the Sierras, at least to the degree where we can see Lake Tahoe. Martlet Lake, we captured a UFO. When you really make light of things, yeah, we've gotten Bigfoot evidence here, UFO evidence, and even seen a monster. Maybe not even of this world. So going up here excites me, because honestly, I don't know what I'm going to find. I don't know. Whatever we find is going to be simply stellar. Because we're not going to, right now we're walking a road. When we get to the top, we're going to go off into the wilderness. No trails, no specific way to go, just guts and glory. This is your founder of the Paranormal Ghost Society, Lord Rick, Kings Canyon, Nevada, June 3rd, 2015. 1 year and 5 days after the fact we were first here. What will 1 year bring us? Could be anything up here lurking in those mountains. We have a long ways to go. 9,200 feet from here means an all-day affair of pushing on and hiking. Ash Kings Canyon Trail, good. We want to take Ash because Ash will lead us to Snow Peak. All right, everybody. Much peace, much love. This is your founder, Lord Rick, producer, author, talk show host, and lead paranormal investigator. We leave the city and we go into the wilderness. That's what it's about. No, the Bigfoot shelter. What a lot of people don't understand, because people had written me and said, there's no such thing as Bigfoot, it's too close to Carson. Well, here's my answer to that. The shelter, or that Bigfoot encampment, and I'm not saying, people say, oh, humans built it. And that might be true, but something else was using that site, something cryptid. You could tell. It had all the signs that you look for in cryptozoology when you're searching for Bigfoot. You look for these signs. So you know, or have a good idea that something like that was here. Such as hair, mutilations, toys made with things found here in the wilderness. Scuffed up trees for tree banging. We're going to look for those signs. The shelter's not in Kings Canyon. Okay, it's in the Sierras. But you have to go up into Kings Canyon to get to it. And that's what I've been trying to say to people, that it's not really near Carson. It's very remote. You can hear the creek running also. It is true that 90% of Bigfoot sighting areas are areas that have anywhere from 40 to 60 inches of precipitation. And as we continue to reach drought, these Sasquatch-like creatures will start heading up into Oregon and Washington, and further up in Northern California where it rains more. There is no shortage of water here, at least this time of year. You can hear that the creek is running very vividly. This used to be an old trail. Pretty soon it's going to become real primitive. Hey man, they just put a new bridge in. Yeah. Well, this isn't anywhere near it because there's no trail leading to our shelter. Plus, it's up in the mountains. It's not really It's not in Kings Canyon. I try to tell people that, whoa, no, do we go this way, dude? I thought we...
We went right.
Yeah. Let's go back around. There's another little trail here. This is new, though, the bridge. That just takes you back around to the front. This is what makes it so primitive, is that we leave the trail, or a trail. We have to go around this, remember? And then there's like a narrow trail, 2-3 feet wide. If that's what we have to do, we'll do it. Whoa. Unless you want to cross and then go along it.
That's way too high.
I'm not as young as you are. Let's just go around here. The trail will start up. Hopefully there's nobody at the whiskey camp or the moonshine camp. I really don't care if people make moonshine, but when they're illegally hunting more deer than they're allowed to take, actually there's no hunting because, yeah, let's go down here and around. Oh my God. There goes my nuts. Here we go. It starts up over here. You got to go into the bush to actually see things. Of course, the mountain lion signs don't give me any comfort. They're like 150-pound mountain lions, beware. Sometimes they get even heavier than that here. All right, I'm out of here, folks. We'll just keep pushing through the bush. You can see why there would be a Bigfoot shelter deep back here, because look how harsh it is. Look how hard it is to get back here. So I hope I've answered everyone's questions as to why there would be some Bigfoot-like shelter. It's very simple. It's hard to get back here. It's very slow going. It becomes extremely steep, very steep, and then once you get through the woods, it opens up a little. Ladies and gentlemen, Jared made our first find up in Kings Canyon. We're deeper in the woods. Let me explain to you what we're looking at here. The base of the skull, a jawbone, a deer leg, another deer leg, another one. There's actually a well, this looks like a shoulder up here, but there's 3 deer legs, maybe 4. Because this one's broken off and that's it. But they're all in a nicely neat pile in one area. Now, maybe something took the deer down here and dined on it, and then scavengers like coyotes may have scattered the pieces elsewhere. But I find it very strange how all 3 legs are kind of lying on each other, and then you have a base of the skull, and then a jawbone, and a couple bone fragments. But you can see this is definitely deer legs. And it looks like something was gnawing, the bone split, was gnawing on it. And this doesn't prove that Bigfoot was here. What it proves is there are predators, including Bigfoot, that could dine on a deer to sustain themselves, whether that be a bear, a mountain lion, a Bigfoot, some other kind of creature. Maybe it passed away and the birds and the insects had gotten to it during decomposition. But this is not uncommon. We come up in Kings Canyon our first time and seen 2 different mutilations. This is the 3rd one we found, and this is trip number 2 of Kings Canyon. We're in June of 2015 making a return, and Jared was walking through the brush and said, "Hey Dad, there's deer bones everywhere." And so this is what you get. And there's still some fur, and I do not see teeth marks, which normally when a mountain lion takes down a predator, you'll see a bunch of scrape marks because the teeth try to get all the muscle and the tissue off, the soft tissue, and the meat. Well, in this case, all the meat's gone, but there's no teeth or gnaw marks. Very, very strange. Our first find on our Kings Canyon expedition. What do you think? One more thing. Let's get Jared's take on it before we move on. What you found this, but what do you think these bones symbolize?
Probably hunting. Something's out here and it's got to be big.
It's got to be a predator, you mean?
It knows what it's doing.
Well, look, I've seen deer bodies where the bones are scattered, but these are all in a nice, neat pile. Like the legs were purposely stacked on top of each other, like something. It almost looks like, see how the grass is down right here?
Yeah.
Look how it's all, where you're standing? Look where you're standing?
It's all down.
Like something was sitting here, grabbing the bones.
Yeah, just
not, just clearing the meat off and then just left the bones. Because it should be scattered. You should find a bone with mountain lions. You'll find a bone here, a bone here, a bone up on the hill. You never find it all together.
Yeah.
There's no body, there's no ribs. You just have a pile of legs, a jawbone, and the skull. Now, if you eat the brain, it's high in protein.
Yeah.
So that means that if you eat the brain of a deer, that's less deer you have to catch, because the liver and the brain are excellent sources of protein for a Bigfoot-like creature. Therefore, if it ate the brain, it would have to hunt not as many deer, because the brain is very high along with the liver and the protein, and could provide the nutrients an 8-foot creature like Bigfoot would need.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're going to keep pushing on into the Sierras till we get to Lake Tahoe. We'll be back with more footage. First signs of something strange. Deer mutilation piled neatly near the creek. It has water, it has food, it has remoteness. I love this place. Bigfoot, here we come. Okay, so we're going to cross the creek. There are multiple creeks here. Ash Canyon Creek, Clear Creek. Oh my God. I slipped on the rock.
Now you're nice and cool.
Yeah, I'm nice and cool. These dry fast too, so it won't matter. Look at that. That water wasn't too cold actually. So usually it's, yeah, it's all right. I'll keep cool for the day, you know? I was heating up, that helped. This looks like an animal trail. That mutilation we found was weird. I just never seen bones stacked so nicely. Usually when coyotes or mountain lions will take a deer bone and run off with it. They won't just sit there, eat all the bones, and leave it stacked. Something was there. Animal, predator, Bigfoot, human, something really got to that deer. I remember this spot where all we're doing is retracing our steps, but this time we're going to follow those tracks up into the mountains and go over where we took a photo of that UFO from up above and those Bigfoot tracks at Martlet and see if we can find something. These flowers are pretty prevalent too in this region. Bright red. They're just gorgeous, man. Now I can't disclose where the encampment is. Like I said, it wouldn't matter if a human or Bigfoot built it. It's still a magnificent piece. And just because a human built it does not mean that a creature like Bigfoot would not take advantage of it. It has slats for easy access of 360 degrees, where it could jump out, grab a deer, hunt, watch out for human beings. The camp is very primitive. Now, you see a lot of trees here. Someone who built it to put time and effort into it because they planned on using it as a home, as a shelter, as a location to feel safe. Looks like the camp's gone. It was here, the hunting camp. Yep, it's all gone. Wow. This is the first break spot. We'll have about 5 before we get to the peak.
10.
Yeah, we'll get her done. This is Lord Rick. Peace. Some kind of camp back here. There's a fire pit. Is there anything else back here? I don't know. That's a water. I don't know. Open it and smell it. See if that's moonshine. Someone was keeping moonshine up here. Just open it and smell it real quick. Bet you it's moonshine.
It smells like someone's mouth. That's disgusting, actually. I ain't drinking that crap.
Here, Oz. Here's a homemade shovel for you. Redneck design. Redneck by design. Yeah. I like how they have little grills and everything here. Grates on the wood. There's more than just Bigfoot that lurks in these woods. You got moonshiners. The bottle of moonshine's gone. Someone's like, they scooped that right up. They're like, I'm drinking that. That's mine. Alright, folks. Next stop. Hopefully the Bigfoot shelter. Stop after that. Snow Valley Peak. And Lake Tahoe and Martlet Lake. It's on like Donkey Kong. You notice the benches that were here are gone too? They had a bunch of benches. There's no benches back here anymore. Things change in just a year's time. Over and out. Let the journey begin. To the Bigfoot encampment. The climb up to this meadow is rather hard. This is a good time of year to hike. Everything's in bloom. It's almost summer. It's still pretty lush up here with the creeks. You have to be careful. I kneeled down in some poison ivy, and now my leg's all inflamed due to that. It's pretty difficult having to go through brush. But see, the art of Bigfoot searching, cryptozoology, is the ability to put in field work and to traverse some of the most harshest terrain where humans may not venture, but a creature like Sasquatch or some new animal species might, that hasn't ever been found in this region. That could include birds and any other type of life that might be prevalent up here, or not so prevalent if it's one of a kind or something very rare. You know, I was riding out here in the mountains one day and I seen this bird that had like a 12 to 15 inch tail and was black and white. I never seen a bird with the tail that long. It was all feathers in the back like a peacock, except it wasn't a peacock. Hey guys, we got company. There's someone back there. We need to kind of lay low. Because I announced we're going. There might be some people up here trying to wait for us. He's over there. Alright, he's over there in that canyon. It's a guy. There is somebody. Alright, man. Break time. We're in a hidden meadow.